All right, well, welcome to our webinar on digital marketing strategy. So it's 2020. We've got us a new year, a new decade, and in that, there's always the opportunity to kind of look back and see things that we've done and accomplished and things that we want to accomplish coming up. And one of the things that I think is very important in this process is just coming up with some sort of a simple marketing plan. It doesn't have to be over the top, but just some sort of a plan. Anytime that we sit down and we want to start doing something, odds are you're going to have a much more successful result if you actually have a plan in place. I always find that just by having stuff written down with some sort of strategy or some sort of intention behind it, that it definitely helps in the moving forward and achieving the things that we've set in place. And so with our businesses, marketing is a huge part of that. I know me, I get very much wrapped up in operations and follow through and customer sales and acquisition and things like that, that sometimes the actual thing that we need the most is what we do last, and that's planning our marketing. And so that's what the point of today is. And we're in the first part of the new year, and that's always an exciting time, and everyone is just so excited and hopeful for the upcoming year. And so I thought it would be a wonderful thing to sit together today and come up through a little process about marketing itself. So we'll kind of go through that. We're going to go through some conversation pieces about it. And then after that, we're going to kind of go through a worksheet that I am going to provide to everyone here today that you can actually sit and go through the process yourself. So my company, real quick, is Designs Interactive. This year, we are in our 20th year, so 20 years in 2020. I did not plan that. It just happened, but it's kind of cool. So our company provides branding, web, and marketing services to small and medium-sized businesses. And over the 20 years that I've been doing this, I've created some really great relationships and friendships and all of that. With clients and the community, et cetera. So that's kind of the work that we do. This is my mugshot. My name is Orhan McMillan. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, and I've been in actual web development and graphic design for, this is old, more than 25. I'm probably pushing about almost 30 now. Because I did this prior to starting this company. But yeah, about 20 years ago, I got the crazy idea that I'd start a business and ran it out of my home in a bedroom for about 6 years. And, lo and behold, here we are, I have a great team. We're two offices, one here in Baton Rouge and one in Shreveport, Louisiana. And a great team of employees that really are talented and wonderful and inspiring. And so we do our best to provide graphic design, marketing, web technologies, all of that to our customers. So that's us. Mission and vision statement. I think those are important. Our mission is to discover and tell the story of each unique individual business that we come across, and through that be able to promote them, et cetera. And by doing that, creating a strong community, jobs, community impact, et cetera, for not only our city and state, but country and planet. So the agenda is pretty simple today. We're going to talk about 8 steps to developing a simple marketing plan. Marketing plans in general can be very, depending on the size of the company or the size of the organization, et cetera, they can be very cumbersome and heavy and difficult, actually. But I wanted to come at something simple. I believe, starting simply with processes like this, we can definitely achieve more. And so that was kind of the theme of this. And so, marketing, it's a huge part of a business, but it's the heart of a business, but it, serves a vital function, and it transforms production activities into financial performance, and then thus ensuring the growth and expansion of the business. And it's key, regardless, whatever type your business you're in. Marketing is a huge, important component, whether you are a small mom and pop startup or you're a larger company. Keeping yourself out in a marketing aspect is important to stay in front of your customers, stay in front of potential customers, potential employees, all of those things. And the way they do that is they engage you by how you're marketing and what you're marketing and where you're marketing. So that's some of the stuff we're going to go through today. The important part of this is just to kind of sit through understanding, why I need this, definitions of what the marketing plan is, et cetera. And then we're going to go through that. So again, first part, we're going to do a little talking, take some notes. And I also meant to mention there's a group chat feature here that I have a screen open. And if you have any questions or anything, if you want to focus in on anything that I say, just either just type something in there. And then out of my Shreveport office, Chelsea is joining us today. And so she'll be able to monitor some of that. And maybe Chelsea, if there's anything you want to add to that, please join in at any time. We work well together. So let's get started. And so why do I need a marketing plan? What is the purpose of that? So let's start with what marketing is and talk with that. So marketing is essential. It's the heart of the business. It is a vital function of transforming, like I said, production activities into the financial part. Marketing has different definitions in different, depending on who you ask. Pause 1 second. I'm having a little technical issue here with one of my things. Welcome to the world of technology. Chelsea's trying to talk and she can't unmute.
Okay. Hey guys, can you guys hear me as well?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you now. Okay. We're good.
I'll chime in whenever. I just wasn't able to talk. So
right. We got that solved. Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you guys.
New software is causing a few little bits issues, but we're good. So yes, so with that, what we do is, if you take a quick online search, there's tons of reasons why a marketing plan is essential. So some of the things a marketing plan can actually do, it can help you reach your target audience, which is very important. That's a very important step of developing this is who is my target audience. It helps boost customer base. It definitely increases the bottom line, both revenue-wise, et cetera. It assists you with obtaining finances. If you actually are seeking financial help, whether it's loan, investment, et cetera, one of the key parts of that in financial institutions, they're going to want to know how you're marketing your business because they understand that marketing is key in success of the business. And so they're going to make sure and understand that you understand that as well. It had one of the biggest things, and I know this is for me, it sets clear, realistic, and measurable objectives. And so everybody has different objectives in their business. And so by writing this down and having this as a living, breathing, evolving document, a marketing plan is not something that you fill out and go stick in a folder. Actually, it's something you fill out and you put it in a place that you can see it and review it often with you and your team. And that's going to change, and it needs to be flexible, and it needs to be able to adjust and grow depending on the things that have happened. But it's an overall plan that allows you to see where you want to go, make decisions on where you go, and develop steps to get there. And it helps focus your total marketing efforts. So if you're a one-person business or a 50-person business, it really helps you focus all of those efforts together. So the marketing strategy, the overall part of the overall thing is it does a few key things. One of the biggest things it does is it really defines your vision. So your leadership team, what is the vision of the company? That's such an important part of all of our business. Is what do we want to be? Who do we see ourselves as? What is our purpose as a company? And by defining that vision, then we're able to put steps into place and processes in place that actually achieve that vision. And so that's the key point, is to remember that we're actually starting with a larger vision of impact and purpose of what we want, and then we build our marketing to achieve that. It allows us to get proactive instead of reactive. So many times we're so reactive in our business, just day to day, waiting for things to happen. And as they come up, we react to them. But with a marketing strategy, you're actually able to be proactive. And so I can be very deliberate and intentional in the steps that I take that I want to market and grow my business. Patience is a virtue. It takes time. All of this is just takes time. And so patience is an important part of that. Just understanding that, each step forward is a good step, and that it's going to take time to do this, that you're going to develop as time goes on with your business. Maintenance is also very important. And by that means is the work that has to be done to get there. And by doing this strategy, it enables you to understand what those tasks are. And by doing that, you'll be able to set some goals to achieve that vision, to understand the company that you want to be. It's very exciting. I get very excited. I get very excited about this time of year. And then most important, by doing this in an effective way, you're actually able to grow your business to whatever that definition means to you. Some businesses want to stay, 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Others want to grow to larger businesses. But whatever your personal preference is, this allows you to do that. So what is marketing? So marketing in general is about discovering and satisfying your customers' needs and wants while earning a profit. I mean, that's basically it. What are those things that our customers need specifically, and how can we do those? And of course, charge and earn a profit and create jobs, etc. It involves attracting and retaining customers. So marketing is important because it's not always about the new customer. Many times it's about our existing customers and the value that we have with them already as existing customers, and what can we continue to do with them and for them to help them be successful, especially like in our line of work. Our main thing is what can we do to help our clients succeed more. And by doing so, they're going to grow and thrive and then come back to us. And it's a wonderful cooperative, collaborative process that we get to go through. One of the ways you attract customers is by coming up with some promise or some value proposition that whatever you can deliver has a better value than your competitors. And that's a very wide range of things, whether it's price, quality, service, etc. It's what your strengths are. And by being able to market those strengths, because we can't all be good at everything and no one is, and nor should we be. What we want to look at is, as a company and as an individuals, what are our personal strengths and that are different and stronger than our competitors, using that messaging to market. And then as long as you can deliver satisfaction, you retain customers. And then those customers become your sales force and word of mouth referrals, because 85% of new business for all the businesses I engage with come from referrals, which means you're doing a good job, you're providing a good value, and you're a good service. Another thing that marketing is, it's creating value for your customers while extracting value from them. And so you're actually going to be able to extract value from your customers while you're creating value. And that's a magic thing there. And by listening to customers, you learn more of what they want and are able to provide that. So marketing is a really cool thing. It really is. It's a large umbrella of definitions. A lot of things get dumped in it that may not be marketing, but it's a very valuable tool. So how do you create value for and extract value from customers? So there's a little bit of a formula involved with that, and it involves the best mix of what is known as the 4 Ps: product or service, price, promotion, and place. So those are the 4 Ps. And then by understanding that and creating a formula that the customer realizes the highest level of benefits per unit of cost. So value equals benefits divided by cost. Now the 4 P's include product or service. So having something to offer that your customers or potential customers need. So there's something you're offering that someone needs. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing the work that you do or in the business that you are in. Second is price. Charging a price that is in line with the value customers place on your offering. Now price is always a challenge. Do I price low? Do I price high? What is my value? People pay a lot of money for a lot of things, and we know that. We can look at that in our consumer marketplace. And the reason they spend a lot of money on certain things is there's a perceived value of that item or of that service that they're willing to pay more than they would pay for something else. And so it's really a matter of marketing your value that then allows you to be supported at the price point that you come in at. And that's a huge part there. The next P is promotion. So you let your customers know what you have to offer and what's special about it. What is unique about some of the things that you're offering, and what's special about it, what's unique about it. And in that, customers are aware of you. And then last but not least is place. Place is very important. And place is not necessarily always a physical thing. If you're in retail, oh my gosh, place is location, location, location. But getting your product or your service to the customers at a time and in a form that is most beneficial to them. So that's what we mean by place or distribution. So how do I understand how to get my service at a time and a form that is most beneficial to the customer? And if you really look at all of these, we're going to go into a little bit more detail here in the next slide. But if you really look at this, if I'm really studying what my product and service is, what my price is, how am I promoting this, and how am I placing this, that in itself is a valuable process that really gives you a leg up on your competition. And that's another thing to think about in this, is that unfortunately, and I know this just from my personal experience with businesses, there are less businesses using a strategic marketing plan than there are that, I'm having a sense saying that right. It is less likely that your competitors are actually operating through a marketing plan or any kind of a marketing strategy. And I realize that's a very general statement, but most small businesses and medium-sized businesses, when I meet with them and talk to them and I talk about their marketing plan, there is none. And so just know that by doing this, you're actually creating a stronger formula for success for your business. So let's look a little bit further into the 4 Ps. So product, price, place, promotion. So product, so brand name, variety of product, the quality of what the product or service that you're offering. What are the features of the product or the service that you're offering? If it's a physical thing, are there different sizes? If it's services, are there multiple levels of service that you offer that say your competitors don't? Are there warranties involved if you're selling product or selling a service? Is there returns available? So those are the things that come into understanding how to develop your product or your service, is some of those things involved. And then, in the pricing, so when you're pricing your products, are there discounts involved? Allowances? Are there payment period or payment terms that you can do? Are there credit terms? All of those things there play a valuable role in pricing. I know for us, one of the things that I started doing about 2 years ago was I actually, in our industry, it's usually like a third down, a third through way, and a third upon completion. And some of the stuff that we do can be a little bit higher priced because I'm getting 20 years in business and a lot of expertise. But what I began doing is I began creating flexible payment terms, no interest, of course. And that really helped out because, one of my target markets is small and startup businesses. And small and startup businesses, they're very, very mindful of their cash and the money that they have, as to am I. And so I realized, well, I don't want to not enable that potential customer to utilize our services. So let me adjust how I do payment terms to make it more affordable for them on a monthly basis so that we can grow their business together. And so that's a wonderful thing to think about. Think about creative ways of doing pricing that can engage customers and potential customers. Number 3 is place. So where are we placing it? What are the distribution channels that you're using to place your product or service? Is it digital? Is it social media? Is it physical display? Is it traditional advertising? Print, radio, outdoor, online, all of those things. Where are we going to distribute our marketing message about our product and or service? Are the coverage area? Are there assortments of places? What about inventory? Is there inventory involved? There are multiple locations that your product, if you're selling a product, are you going to have multiple locations for that? Or where is that location going to be? If you're a retail, you can see this all the time. If you're in the retail business, if you notice how construction and real estate development is happening right now, you may have an anchor point business. For example, a Rouse's grocery store, or a very strong brand name recognized retail store, or a strong recognized restaurant is an anchor point. And around that anchor point, you have the micro sub businesses. And and then a lot of times we have multi-use facilities now, and then you also have residential. So what you're doing is you're creating a small ecosystem that brings in traffic, foot traffic, people traffic, and that's intentional, because the smaller size business that doesn't necessarily have the footing or the marketing budget that, say, that anchor business, they rely on that anchor business because we know we'll go to Rouse's, or we'll go to whatever that anchor point is, and we will walk by and see the smaller business. So place is a very important part, especially if you're in product sales or consumer sales. Not so much so if you're, say, in chemical transportation, that's not as important. But again, it's all very important parts to think about. Access, location, transportation, how to get there, how can people get to you, parking, all of those things. Next, promotion. So how are we going to promote it? How are we going to promote what we're doing? Sales promotions and advertising, sales force, like sales team force and software. There's lots of automated software out there that's just so dang complicated, it drives me crazy. Direct marketing, or we're going to do public relations as part of our promotion. Another part that's we're actually building a lot on is, what is the purpose of the company? In 2020 now, we've entered a space that 51% of our consumer marketplace, consumers are now millennials. And one of the statistics that studies have shown that millennials choose their customers through is the impact or purpose of that business. Is it a local business? If it is, what is the local responsibility of that business to its community? What do they do on kind of a mission driven? And so that's another really important thing to think about, is, outside of what my product or service is, what impact and responsibility do I have my community? And that will directly influence a large population of millennial purchase consumers, as well as your employee base, your team. Those things matter a lot. So I'll be working more on that. Actually, I'm working on a presentation for purpose-driven marketing that I'll be putting out here pretty soon. Because that's a huge important factor that all businesses should pay attention to. So again, we've looked at the 4 Ps, and so that's one of the parts. But then let's start looking at how to prepare the marketing plan. So I want to, like I said, I created a worksheet for us. It can be blank paper. It doesn't have to be, but there's some basic steps that you need to go through. So one of them is you're asking yourself certain questions. What is your product or service? What markets do you serve? What's unique special features distinguish your product or service from the others? These are great. When you go through, I'm going to take a pause here. When you do these, one of the greatest ways of doing this, if you have a small team that you can do it with, it's great. But, and if you don't, just yourself. But when you sit down to answer these questions, I always encourage, just go for free flow thought. Whatever comes to mind, write it down. Don't let the brain cut it off. For example, what is a unique feature of my product? The fact that it is recyclable materials that are sourced from so-and-so. Just write everything down, because what you want to do is you want to basically do like a collection of all the possible thoughts that you have, because you're going to go back and review it. So don't edit while you're doing these. Just whatever comes to mind, write it down. So as you're answering them, so what is the special features or the features that distinguish my product or service from the others? What's the best way to get the product or service into the hands of targeted customers? How do I get in front of them? Where are they? What are they looking at? Where are they shopping? What are their interests? Who are the customers? Are they male, female, middle-aged, millennial? You know, where do they shop? What are their interests? Do they have children? Are they retired? Now, who are the customers? What are their age groups? What are their behavior patterns? Thinking about things like that will allow you to really target where those customers, where they are. A big thing, price. How should I price my product or service? You know, one way of looking at that is I always like to start and see what my competitors are doing, and then judge where I want to fall in from there. If it's a higher end product, of course, you'll be able to charge more. If it's a commodity-based product, it may be volume over price kind of thing. Then, you know, how do I promote or advertise my product or service? You know, what do I have available? You know, nowadays with digital and social and email and Facebook and Instagram, and plus the, you know, hundreds of other platforms, there's so many ways of doing it, which at first may seem a great thing, but it can be actually overwhelming, because where do I start and how do I manage it and how do I get it out and how to do it consistently? So again, that's another thing to think about. And is my market changing, or is it likely to change? This is a huge, important one. And I always go to, you know, some of the global brands, et cetera, that have survived, you know, the decades, you know, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Taco Bell, you know, they've recently done a big rebrand. Winn-Dixie grocery store. It's just been interesting. So you, even as a small business, this is I always, me personally, I always really like to look at, see what is trending nationally or even internationally. When we started to do paid subscriptions for clothes or food delivery, that was something that stood out to me, was, so what does this mean and how does this affect what we do? As a business, what is what is a subscription-based business look like? What are they getting? What is the value? What is the purpose? Well, it's ease, it's access, it's a quality product, and it's delivered. You know, we all can see that there's been a huge push of things brought to me. You know, Amazon Prime, Waiter, Grubhub, everything. I want it delivered. I can order my dog food off of a pet store and have it delivered within a day at maybe a few bucks more than what it would cost. All of those things. So again, as you sit with this process and you review this process, always kind of keep an eye and an ear about what's trending in a social atmosphere that could definitely affect and influence how you market your business. So we're going to start with something. So the first thing we're going to, you do is you kind of state your marketing objectives. And so specifically, you would like to increase awareness of your product or service that you're providing. You want to increase sales and revenue by a certain percentage. Do you want to increase the number of customers who purchase your product or service? For example, if your objective could be, I would like to increase sales by 10% by the end of next year. I will sell 50 more boxes of the product and sell 10% of what you produce directly to customers, or participate in at least one trade show. So those are specific marketing objectives that I would like to increase revenue by this percent by the end of next year, or I would like to sell 50 more boxes of the product, or I would like to sell 10% of what I produce directly to consumers, or participate in a trade show. I mean, again, wide open goals, depending on what you want to achieve. So that would be when you state your objectives. What am I trying to do? What do I want to do? And then, so here's some tips on that. So the target market is let me see, I did one wrong here, pardon. The marketing objective, the tips should be, I think I got a slide swapped out here. Yes, I do. I actually swapped these out. This one is be realistic about your marketing objectives and make sure that they are specific and quantifiable so you can measure your progress towards achieving them. So for example, a marketing objective is I want to grow my business. Well, that's not quantifiable. It's not measurable. It's general. Now, I would like to grow my business by adding 2 more employees by second quarter, or I would like to grow my business by adding another location by 2021. Those are measurable, quantifiable goals that you want to create. Marketing objectives can be expressed in terms such as sales dollars. I want to create this much more in sales dollars, sales units, market share, distribution levels, or distribution channels. I want to begin distributing my product on this channel, et cetera. Or I want to make more brand awareness about my company or my product or service. Try to limit, this is important, don't overdo it. Try to limit the number of marketing objectives to less than 4. 2 is actually ideal for most companies. So as you're going through this, you may come up with 8 or 9 objectives you'd like to do. Prioritize those as to a couple different ways you may want to prioritize. One, if you're new at doing this process, maybe do something that's easy to achieve, something that is not a hard push, that will allow you to go through this process of developing a strategy, following the goals, following through, measuring, and getting the results. And then you go back and do a little bit larger, take a little bit larger goal. Or on the other side of that, you just, you can actually, which one is the most important? Is sales more important right now to increase revenue? Or is it a marketing objective, or marketing objective for my company would be increase distribution channels initially and then push sales? So whatever you feel is more important, prioritize it that way. But again, let's start with 2. 2 is great. And then once you work on those, after you accomplish those, you're going to add more. And it really is, that's what I keep going back and saying about, it's a living, fluid, evolving thing that you're going to go through the process. So second part is identifying the demographics of my target market. So one way to determine the customer demographics, for example, their age, sex, profession, income level, education level, residency, they're an individual or a business, is to write a description of the target audience. Actually write that out. And then once you've done so, focus only on those customers who are most likely to purchase your product or service. It would be great if everybody would do business with this. Not really, it wouldn't be great. But isn't it great if you could write and define who your ideal customer is, who you want to do business, who is that person that you want to buy your product or be a champion of your product. So that's what this is you're creating this. And a lot of this is mental and a mental exercise that you're just kind of creating this persona of who you want to have. And then once you've done so, you can focus on those. And so as your business and resources grow, you can focus on a wider segment of the overall market. So again, this is about expansion. So if you know you have a particular market, if you're selling specialized pet products, or, I've seen all kind of really great pet products. One of our clients is a CBD or a company out of Louisiana. They sell pet cheese for dogs. And so, that's a very selective market right there. And so, when we focus on the marketing there, we're obviously targeting, I would say, a little bit more progressive thinking pet owners. We will spend lots of money on our pets. I have 3 Great Danes, and I can't tell you that they get whatever they want. But it's me understanding that, and then as we grow, then we would want to expand that product into other areas, other pets, other animals, etc. But just starting with something and being clear with that is very key and very important. So some tips on that. Let me go back here. The target market is a group of customers for whom your marketing effort is intended. Your target audience, your target choice, will determine your production and marketing practices, not vice versa. So again, let me restate that. Your target choice will determine your production and marketing practices. Your production and marketing practice will not determine your target choice. So what that means is, by understanding who your target is, or one of your targets are, what their behaviors are, what their likes and dislikes are, and creating that, they will determine your production and marketing practices. That's a very important thing to think about. Target market is not simply whoever is buying or will buy your products. Rather, it consists of the individuals or businesses that you identify as your most desirable customers. I want to repeat that again because that's your most desirable customers. It's not everybody and anybody. It's who are your most desirable customers? What do they look like? How do they act? How do they sound? How do they approach? What is their openness to what you're trying to offer? What degree of control do they want, et cetera? So again, those are great ways of being able to identify the demographics of your target market. So number 3 is identify the competition. There's so much value in competitors. I mean, I'm thankful for competitors. We need them as a marketplace. We need competition. It's kind of how we built our system. But competitors give us the opportunity to look at how we're doing things, how they're doing things, and just it gives that opportunity to reflect on others that are in your industry. There's several ways to go about identifying who the competition is. One is to identify other businesses that are offering somewhat similar products or services to the customers that you're targeting and within your price range. Once you've identified who they are, analyze 2 or 3 or 4 of those with certain questions that you would ask. How are these businesses doing in terms of sales and demand? What are their similarities and dissimilarities between what I'm doing, what my product and service is? What are some of the competitors' strengths and weaknesses? What do the customers think about your competitors' product and services? Can I capitalize on their weaknesses? And how can I create better value for my customers through that? And what pricing strategies are your competitors using? And can you improve on their strategies? So the benefit of that, and it's actually something that I'm putting into place the first few months of this year, is I really began to look at what other great design and marketing companies in the area were doing and what they were focused on. And I determined that there's almost like they're almost doing the same thing. Everybody's kind of doing the same. So what I've developed, and I'm in the process of developing, is a different messaging system because I want to go after a different market. I want to do it differently. I want to do it on a different way that no one else is doing in the area. And I don't know, there's not a lot in the region either. I'm again looking at national trends and looking at some of the national publications that are coming through and articles that I'm reading. There's a strong drive on purpose-driven marketing, purpose-driven businesses, intentional marketing. And so that's kind of where we're moving ourselves into, is to be the company that if you understand what your purpose and you want to discover what your purpose is and you want to let that be your driving factor, then come do business with us. And there's no one else in the area doing that. And so again, by looking at competition over the years and observing what they do, I was able to determine something that fit who I am as an individual owner, but also something that reflects with my staff and us as a culture. So again, that's the way to do that. If it had not been for competition, I wouldn't be able to do that. And I'll be honest, there's competitors that, I mean, God, there's some great design and marketing companies out there. They really are. They're my friends. I mean, I know them, and they've got their strengths, and everyone has their strengths. And once they kind of know what that strength is and they focus on that and not try to be everything to everybody, we're all able to be successful. So it's really great. It really is a great thing. One tip when it comes to identifying competition is to select a set of competitors and identify their strengths and weaknesses. How do they promote? Where are they promoting? What is their pricing strategy? Is there anything unique or special about their pricing products? And this, you may require a little secret intel, maybe a couple phone calls or the secret shopping. We've all heard about the secret shopper. It's part of business, as long as you do it with integrity and as much, with integrity and dignity. It's just kind of part of how we do it, right? So the next step is to describe the product or service. And so what we're trying to do with that is it a commodity? Is it a service? Is it both? What product or services are you offering? And how is what you offer different or the same from what your competitors are offering? How do customers perceive the benefits of the product or service that you are providing? What are those benefits? What are those unique things, as we mentioned when we're doing the 4Ps? You know, there are warranties involved. Is there things involved that others aren't doing? Is there a pricing model that's different? But again, what are you providing that's a little bit different, more unique, more individualized? Or is it not? Are you selling commodity quantity widgets that you have to just sell a bunch of? And so it's not based on the quality, it's on the number of product you can sell. What do customers perceive as the special features of your product or service? What do they perceive? Not necessarily what it is, but how do they perceive that? And you do that through your messaging and through your marketing and how you are in the community and out and about networking, et cetera. Other questions to keep in mind when defining your product or service include the following. Can you appeal to environmentally conscious or health conscious customers? Is that a possibility? How are you going to present your product or service to customers in general? How are you going to present this to them? Is there an increase or decrease in the supply of your product or service in the market itself? Is there a need? I've noticed in the past year in the Baton Rouge area, or the pet spas, the pet plazas. I think I've seen 4 open, pretty large in the last year. So there's obviously a perceived need for that in the marketplace. But then again, when will that cap? When will there be more than enough? When will there be too many? But again, all those things, you can look around, there's lots of data research available through the small business development centers. We have some really great SBDCs here in Louisiana. That's what their purpose is to help provide small businesses with research and data about business and growth and opportunities. So I strongly encourage you to reach out to those. If you're not sure who to reach out to, please let me know and I will gladly connect you, because there's some great organizations like that sole purpose is to help us grow and succeed as businesses. Some tips to keep in mind is to remember that without customers, your business is out of business, right? I mean, without customers, I'm not doing anything. But it's important that you give your customers a reason to buy your product and to remain loyal, which is long-term repeat customers. That's the goal. If you can do that, so why? Not only do they buy, but what is it in them? What is it there for them to remain loyal to us and buy more and talk about us? That's very important. Always aim to produce what you can sell rather than sell what you can produce. So that's an interesting little twist on words. So produce what you can sell rather than sell what you can produce. So selling what you produce means I produce some stuff, I haven't got much thought, I got to get rid of it. But let me create a product or service that is valuable, needed, and sell that. It's much easier to sell that than the other way, which is basically I just got to get rid of this inventory. So that's an important part there. So the next step, step 5, is defining the place or the distribution strategy. So when we talk about place, we're thinking about more than just the physical location of the business. Place also includes how you plan to get the product or service into the hands of your customers, the place they need it in their hands. To do this, you need to answer some questions. Some of them could be, how widely do you plan to geographically distribute your product or service? In other words, are you local? Are you in-state, multi-state, national, international? Are you going to be selling directly, direct marketing to customers? So yeah, are you going to be selling directly to them? Or are you going to be selling indirectly? So are you selling something to a distribution center or someone else that then they're going to sell it? So those are important parts to think about when it comes to defining your place of how you're going to distribute your product or service. Tips. So consider your product distribution plan and determine, if you're in kind of a physical thing, determine the best type of packaging for that. If you're a service, consider the best product distribution plan for your service and how to package those as well. So it's an interesting twist. You can kind of just do a little bit of a different mindset between a product physical thing you're selling and a service. But it's all about how am I distributing it, and how am I packaging it. Packaging serves to protect and preserve your product and to advertise and differentiate your product itself. And so in that aspect, in a physical term, so it depends on how we package these services or package our products that preserve the integrity of the service or product, and then to advertise and differentiate that product or service. And so that would be an important part there. Next step is our promotion strategy. So when it comes to choosing your promotion strategy, promotion refers to the entire set of activities that inform people about your product or service. Promotion includes customers to prefer your product or service over those of your competitors. Promotion is simply how you get people to know about the product or service you provide. It deals with how and what you want to communicate to customers. Several tools can be used. And this is where we get into my realm, is mass media, radio, television, internet, newspaper, magazines, billboards, direct mail, personal contacts, trade associations, and of course, our big old friend, social media, all of those. So what is my promotion strategy going to be that I continuously market and promote my product or service? And how am I going to do that? What is that going to look like? One tip on that is social media is one of the most cost-effective means of promoting your business, but it can be overwhelming. I hear it all the time. I just don't know what to do. I'm not sure what to post or how to do this. And one of the key things that I can offer in that area that we see the best results in is quality postings over quantity. Quality branding, framework, layout, continuity is so important. That's continuity in, whether it's the photography or the graphics that you make or you have made. It's the continuity that raises and elevates the perception of your brand, and it's just key. I mean, it's Coca-Cola. It's quantity. It's, again, a few strategic, well-designed posts will gain more for you than several haphazard, kind of thrown together, thrown out there, here's a picture kind of thing that is done. So that's a key thing to do, is think quality over quantity when it comes to that. Next, step 7 is developing a pricing strategy. So that there are several pricing strategies that are available. Really the thing to do with that, and I would recommend with that, is you really want to look at, what the competition, what the market will bear kind of thing. And you know that. I mean, you obviously started the business or the business that you're in, you're familiar with others. And so what is the pricing on that? How does that work? And then how do I develop my own pricing strategy based on the strengths and weaknesses, et cetera, of my business itself? And so that's an important part there. Now, the other part of pricing strategy is you also have to look, like, for example, with us, I have to look at the cost, because even if I'm in a service business, I'm not producing a physical, tangible product. I'm producing a service, but there's cost involved with that. There's my employees, there's the overhead that goes in running the business, in marketing my business, and all of that is part of the formula that I come up with when I'm pricing out my services, being conscious of what a consumer can pay for the value that we provide, being flexible with that. But that's kind of how I do it. I mean, there's obviously a bottom line cost that it keeps in order to keep the business going and keeping employees engaged and paid. Your insurance and rent and all those things. So that's one way of looking at a pricing strategy, is basically what your costs are and what you need to grow and thrive and expand. One way of trying to get to get the maximum price, you try to schedule your production on producing when there's limited competing supply. In other words, if you can actually get your product or service out there at a key time, maybe it's a thing that's based on turnaround time. Maybe there's, if you're going to price your product or especially service more, are you able to get it out faster? Are you able to get the need met of the consumer faster, and therefore they will pay more? For example, if there's like an emergency or something in someone's home, they're going to pay more to get that fixed. Water damage, fire, smoke, etc. They're going to get that done because it's an emergency, as opposed to something that's not urgent. There must be a value involved with that. And so what is that value that comes along with that? Next is creating your marketing budget. So, no one has unlimited resources. So it's best to identify how much time and money you want to allocate to marketing. Time is an important part of that. So like in our industry, whenever I'm determining what we're going to do for the company ourselves, I look at how much time it's going to take, how much actual physical time it takes for us to create, develop, strategize, produce, and place our marketing out there, whether it's for this, seminar here, this webinar here, or for, a web design or social media management or whatever. That's how I'm able to do it, is I'm able to say, okay, we're going to look at, 20 hours total. Hourly rate is this. So this is my time budget that I can invest in my company marketing. Of course, there's also money. If I'm going to do advertising of the marketing, how much money do I have to do that? How much money do I have to spend on a monthly basis on that? If I'm doing search engine optimization, if I'm doing sponsored ad, paid ads, boosted ads, Google paid, television, radio, billboard, what are those costs and what do I have that I can spend on that? And by looking at my financials and stuff, and it's better to start somewhere. And then as you begin to see results from your marketing and advertising, then you can increase your marketing budget, because it should be something that grows organically as your company grows. The more money and sales you generate, part of that profit should be put back into your marketing, because it's a symbiotic relationship. They grow together. One of the tips is, estimate how much it will cost for any marketing strategy you propose in your marketing plan and stick to your budget. If you plan to participate in a trade show, estimate the cost for traveling, marketing materials, and booth rent. If you're planning on doing some paid advertising online, go ahead and determine how many platforms. Is it a Facebook paid? Is it Google paid? Is it et cetera? And determine a budget, stick to the budget, and then at the end of that time frame, look at the results of what you got. That's really the way of doing that. Let's see, I think I got a question. Can I do a different keyboard next time? Yes, so we've got, as a startup, how to determine a marketing budget. Okay, so as a startup company, good question. So one of the ways of doing that is as you're developing your actual overall business plan or business planning, your financials, you're going to know you're going to need this much for rent, you're going to need this much for payroll or whatever. What you want to be able to do is look at one of two things. Is there money available to actually invest in the marketing, or is there time available? Obviously, if you're a startup business, you're going to look at the proportion of how many product or how much of my product or service will I sell, let's say, in a 30-day period. What is my estimated sales number that I need? And then take a small percentage of that and then put that towards your marketing, whether it's 5%, 10%. It's really what you're comfortable with. But the key, and I think this is one of the overlooked things, is that start somewhere. If you need to start small and conservative with a number, great. At least you're starting with something. At least you know what you're spending. But again, going back to the time aspect, time is an important part of calculating your marketing budget. So if you don't, let's say you don't have dollars to put in, you have no money at all. What about time? Can you spend 5 hours a week marketing your company, creating stuff, creating things to market your product or service? Because that's a value too. Time is a very important part of that. So that's how I would do that as a startup. Obviously being conscious of your cash expenditure. How much can I afford at this point to be comfortable in the company and not stress the company? And then also, what is my time? Good question. Thank you. Let's see, where am I? Here we go. So here is, all right, this is, so the marketing strategy, and we're going to kind of go through this, and we're going to kind of touch on this a little bit, maybe ask if there's any questions or whatnot. And I'm pausing because I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if I open this up and allow people to ask questions. We might try that. Never done that before. But anyway, point being is this is kind of the summary and concluding part. So part of the marketing strategy, and I'm going to be sending y'all this here, is your executive summary. What are my goals and objectives? What is my business? What is my business? What am I doing? Who are my customers? Who are my competitors? What is my product or services that I'm offering? How am I going to distribute this? What is my promotion of my product or service? What's my pricing strategy? And then finally, but not leastly, is my marketing budget. How much can I invest each month or each year towards marketing? Again, there's no clear, solid answer in that, but all the other parts will help you determine that. And by going through that process, you're going to be much more clear and concise and intentional with marketing your company. So let's go ahead and take a look at this worksheet. This is a very simple worksheet. You can see there's only a couple of lines. You will probably need just blank pieces of paper to go through each one, where I was speaking of earlier, that you can actually fill this out just in kind of a brain dump kind of thing, where you're unlimited in all your thoughts and just releasing them, putting them down on paper, and then coming back and saying, okay, this is, after I've done that, step away, and then come back and say, okay, this is really what I want to achieve. So what are the marketing objectives? What do I want to achieve in this? And then also remember that we're doing this in a kind of a time frame. So is this a year-long marketing plan? Is it a 3-month? Is it a quarterly? Is it a monthly? A safe number to start out with that's usually pretty successful is, I would say, do this quarterly. So in the first quarter, I would like to achieve my marketing objectives are, and list those. And again, 1 or 2, the maximum you need. So number 2, what market do I serve and who are my customers? Writing that out is a valuable part. Who am I serving through the business or service that I have? Who are my competitors and what's different about them? In as few words or less. What is different? What is unique? What is better? What is not as good about what my competitors do and how they operate? What is my product or service? What are those things that I offer? And detail writing those out. Well, we offer this, and this is how to do it. What is the best way to get your product or service into the hands of targeted customers? So how can I get this in front of them? How to get them to click the button to buy or sign the document or swipe the credit card? What's the best way to get that to them? And then how do I plan to promote this? How do I plan to make people aware of what I'm doing? Am I going to do word of mouth? Am I going to go to networking events? Am I going to do trade shows? Am I going to do social media? A little bit of everything. All of those things. But again, what am I planning on doing in this time frame to promote my business or my product or service? And then how do I plan to price this? What is my pricing going to be on this? Is there going to be a low, if it's a slower part of the year, like retail, you see this a lot. If it's a slower time of year, do I need to discount my pricing? Do I need to offer some incentive, some extra value add on top of the service I offer in order to incentivize someone to buy from you? But then as you get into a busier season, you can fluctuate with that. Or are you a fixed cost product? I mean, are you selling almonds, and this is the kind of almonds I have, and this is where they're sourced from, et cetera. So again, all of those things are very important. And then last, but how much money and time can you set aside for your marketing activity? So how many dollars do you have? Again, starting with a number is better than no number at all. I can say, okay, I can start with $250 this month. I'm going to allocate for marketing. Now, then you're going to talk about, well, what exactly does that mean? Is that ad spend? Is that me buying something? Is that me paying to get flyers done, brochures, business cards, all of that kind of stuff, or promotional postcards, et cetera, for what I'm doing? Because once those are done, then you kind of do that over. And then how much time? How much time do I have in a month or in 30 days, 90 days to physically go out and meet people go to networking events, create educational workshops and seminars, i.e. what I'm doing right now. Honestly, this has been a great source of word of mouth and revenue and business for us. I've been doing these about 7 years now, and I enjoy doing them because I feel like I'm bringing something of value to individual businesses and helping them. And eventually people come back and be like, yeah, I attended that webinar, that seminar of yours, it was great. And learned this, and I'd like to do this, and y'all help us do this and stuff. So again, get creative about how you're doing your marketing and how you're getting it out there, etc. So I hope that this was beneficial, and I would like to see if there's any particular questions. If anyone does have any questions on that, now's the time to ask, and we'd love to hear from you. Was there a particular area for anybody that, you know, out of those steps that is kind of the more confusing, frustrating, not sure how to approach in any of those areas of the actual process here? Is it pricing that may be more of a challenge? And the other part I think that I'll kind of mention is, you know, there's no right or wrong in this. You know, the fact that you're actually going to be doing this, like as I mentioned, is most likely what your competitors are not doing. Reactive, you know, more of a reactive response system as opposed to an intentional response system. So what I would like to offer is if anybody wants to give this a go, filling one of these out, I'll be emailing this, I'll email you a PDF file of this. Actually, you'll get a thank you email that'll have a recording of the workshop, of the seminar, the slides, and this worksheet. But if anybody wants to fill that out, or your company, and then send it to me and us talk through it, I'd be happy to do that, no charge. Again, you know, part of why I do this is to help businesses evolve and grow. So, you know, I'd like to offer that if you'd like to fill this out. If you'd like to actually set up a time to kind of talk through some of this, I'd be happy to do that. You know, if we can keep it pretty concise and stuff. But again, a lot of times it helps when someone outside of your business is working with you on something like this, because they can really give a non-emotionally response there. I see Chelsea has just put our emails, both of our emails on the chat. Those will be in the, I think it's a constant contact I send out. So nevertheless, you know, just by you all participating in this really says that you do want to help grow and expand your business. Marketing is a fundamentally essential part of that. So thank you all for your time today. I appreciate your listening, and spread the word, and thank you, and have a wonderful day.